Hello and welcome again to Elijah's Thoughts on Evolutionary Biology and my series on evolutionary biology in regards to religion. I was asked a question about whether or not we could have a good society with the same adaptive principles as religion in a purely atheist society. Yeah, you could, in theory. The thing is, religion in of itself is not contingent upon whether or not you have a metaphysical force. Okay, let me stress that. Religion, the processes that make religion adaptive are not contingent on whether or not you believe in anything. Okay? So let me give you a short example. Let's say that you are a religious person and you believe that someone out there is a heretic, and you get your people to burn books and to delegitimize your opposing force. Now let's switch that on its head. You take an atheist who talks about how some person is a creationist idiot, and so on and so forth, and you send your followers over and to troll a particular YouTube channel. It's effectively the same mechanisms. It's identical mechanisms, it's just coming from a different voice. So when people in New Atheism talk about religion, they fail to address that they are adopting and using the basic principles that I had just articulated in my previous video about how religion can impact us biologically. So, yes, they're using the same mechanisms, bottom line. You can't say, ooh, we want to do away with religion and then also do away with all the mechanisms because we have evolved for religion. That's just how we are. You know, we like to think on a group level. We like to think that there's some sort of trust. We believe in some sort of ritualized behavior. You know, clapping. What is clapping? Ever of you thought of that just for a moment? You know, isn't that dogma? You were taught from a little kid when someone did something. Why not snap your fingers or go like this, or I don't know, any other motion to signify that the individual who's speaking or performing something should be recognized. That's a basic principle. You trust that for whatever reason this behavior is good and appropriate, and that it has some sort of adaptation because someone else told you so. You do it. The military. Now that is religion applied on a societal level without necessarily being part of any one faith system. You believe in the military, you believe that there are enemies, there is an us versus them thinking, which is that I am one group and there's another group that I have to vanquish, that there are certain principles, let's call it the Constitution, that must be protected, that individuals have informed you that these things are ingrained rights and you have to protect them. You use trust mechanisms that I had addressed earlier. You're willing to sacrifice your life for the group. You're willing to make tremendous amount of sacrifices. These are all group level selection mechanisms at play. So essentially here, the military is saying, hey, freedom, yeah! Constitution, America, yeah! How's that any different than saying, ooh, we need to believe in X, Y, or Z deity, or we do not need to believe in X, Y, or Z deity? It's the same thing. Whether you like it or not, you can't get away from religion. You can call it one thing or you can call it another thing, but the mechanism stays the same. And now, I will not get into another subject that can be spurred from this, which is pure intellectualism and critiquing the metaphysical or otherwise truth within religion, saying, okay, you know, it's historically inaccurate, there is no X, Y, or Z, we can prove that it's false, therefore we have to do away with everything, and it's just good to have some of the principles and do away with all the falsehood. Well, the thing is, adaptations don't quite work that way. You can't say that religion is an adaptation and then also destruct absolutely everything. It doesn't quite work that way, because no adaptation doesn't come without its costs. The adaptiveness of religion may mean that you sacrifice on some levels some small amount of rationality. And you find this with people in political circles all the time. By having the mechanism of information transmitted to you and believing in the truth of your cause, you'll also sacrifice on a certain amount the ability to rationally analyze the situation. So if you're a Tea Party or you're a socialist, you're going to get into angry arguments with people that are irrational because you're trying to convey and proselytize your emotional feelings about a given situation. Essentially the same thing, and you're sacrificing some amount of intellectualism to do it, which people who hate religion also talk about. So, in order to be a true atheist and a true anti-religious fundamentalist, so to speak, and do away with all the mechanisms of religion, you can't do that. You can't do that with being an absolute true new atheist. Now, you can be an atheist and acknowledge that there are elements within religion that you incorporate as an adaptation and still not believe in God, fine. But to say that all the mechanisms of religion have to be done away with, no. That's a completely different story entirely. Now, this video has gone way too long. All the best, and good luck.